Okay, you guys. So we're back with number 2 on the countdown. Top 10 reasons not to be a stripper. Number two. Woo! Lord, I gotta take my time with this one because it's deep and I really have to get this off my chest. Off my heart, really. I mean, it's deep. Okay. So it may be a little longer than the other ones, but that is what it is. Okay. Number 2 reason not to be a stripper is that the shame will eventually catch up with you. And, I mean this on a few different levels, so I'm going to go through the different levels. Okay, so before I started dancing, I would say, oh, it's an art form. I walk around my house naked all day. I dance in a club, in little shorts and a tank top, so now I'm just dancing naked on stage, big deal. It's beautiful. It's an art form. It's something that, girls pole dancing, you aspire to be, like it was ballet or something. But in the back of my mind, I knew that if my brother, I don't even have a brother, but if my male cousin or my father or my grandpa or my teacher walked into the strip club, I'm going to run my little artistic behind to the back and hide. So, I had to have known on some level that it's not just like singing or painting. Like this art form is a little bit dirtier than that. So that's the surface level of the shame that will eventually build up where it's like, yeah, you may not be that ashamed of it, but a lot of my stripper friends would lie to their kids or their kids' teachers or, just to people about what they did. Because on some level, it's really, it's a little bit shameful to be doing that. But some people don't have a problem with it, so whatever. So let me go to the next level. The next level is I, at some point, got really disgusted by how many married men I saw up in there, with rings on. And, sometimes you have couples in there, sometimes you have bachelor parties, and they're just really coming to like eat, drink, have a good time, whatever, and go. But sometimes you really see that people have a problem. Like they are looking at you like they're in a trance, or they're in there and they're spending, if they drove up in a Honda and they just spent, $500, it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure that was like a good chunk of your paycheck and your wife wouldn't appreciate that. And you keep putting your phone on vibrate, ignoring her calls. So, I know that's not my fault. I didn't drag those men in there, but I did notice that I'm probably not helping anybody's marriages out. But okay, that's another level. That might just be me being random and just thinking too deep. But what I'm not thinking too deep about is the fact that, and this is probably the deepest level we'll go to in this video. If you have more questions, of course you can email me or comment or whatever, and I'll answer those. But I read a report a while ago, and this was a study that the Center for Disease Control, the Department of Defense, and let me look, I've got my source here, and the National Institute of Justice did. So they did a survey of the women in the United States. This is not around the world, this is in the United States. And it was very comprehensive. These are 3 huge sources who know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. They're very respected and trustworthy. And in their survey, they found that 1 in 5 American women in the United States, 1 in 5 have been raped, and 1 in 3 have been sexually abused. 1 in 5 raped, and 1 in 3 sexually abused. Think about you and your 2 friends, you, your sister, and your mom. That's 1 in 3. That means that there are so many victims of sexual abuse and rape in our country, it's ridiculous. So, I've experienced it, and I know a lot of my friends have also, but I didn't know that it was that common. And for it to be this common, you have to think, okay, they're not abusing themselves. So in my mind, I'm like, since most sexual abusers are men, there are women doing it too. Anybody can do it, but it is mostly men. And so the question is, how many men are rapists and abusers? I hope it's not 1 in 5, the same kind of statistics. Even if it's 1 in 10 or 1 in 15, that's still a heck of a lot of men who have problems with controlling their lust, with controlling their sexual addictions, with controlling their sexual appetite. And for me, if I'm a bartender and somebody comes into, my bar and I know they have a drinking problem and I know that, when they get drunk, they act a fool and, I'm not serving you no drink. But as a stripper, that's a lot of the times where these men with these sexual addictions go to get them riled up or just to feed that fantasy. And since they can't have you because the bouncer in the club or you may not be for sale or whatever, they're going to go get somebody that they can have, whether it's their daughter, their stepdaughter, kidnapping a lady off the street and raping her. So when I really started to think about lust and sex as addiction that some people have, and then I looked at myself as feeding that addiction, I couldn't even sleep at night, honestly. So the shame of that lifestyle, if you care about anything that I just mentioned, it will catch up to you eventually. Knowing that you could potentially be part of the problem, perpetuating this 1 in 3 statistic of women who have been sexually abused and 1 in 5 who have been raped. So, whew, got a little passionate about that one, but it's the truth. So hopefully you listen and remember to comment, rate, post, share, whatever. Thank you. Love you guys.